Well, hello everyone. I got some new tools in a little while ago, and probably about a week ago, and I wanted to do a little film on also the color changing acrylic paints. So these right here that I got in a few weeks ago, and play around a little bit. I'm going to put a black background, and this is not the color changing, but this has, it's called Midnight Black, and it's metallic, and I pretty much think that that's what the color changing is just iridescent colors, you know, something that has a little bit of glitter to it. But I want to start off with the black, and I'm just going to spread it over the top of this. These are tiles that when my parents sold the house that I grew up in, they found a whole box of them, and my dad was like, you want these tiles? And I'm like, one day I'll use them. So actually I started using them, well, a few months back. I used them, let me get that off, to make different tiles that, let me look up a little bit. So I made these into coasters. And so I have this one, and this one, and that one, that one. Put those over here. And then I also did that one and that one. I like the way these turned out because they're more of those iridescent colors. They're shinier. And then I did this one and that one. That one was with the split cup. Around Christmas time I did that one. And then I also did this one. I don't know, I think I like it better that way. Anyways, those are all for sale. They're coasters. I'm probably gonna put one more coat of like a glass thing on top of it. Also, a couple of days ago, I did that one. These are dry, but they're not cured. So, and I don't know if you see those shine on there. And then I'll put the cork backing on that one as well. And then there's another one that I did. Another cork backing's not on there. And then I'll put a shine on top of that as well. I did that earlier this week while I was stuck at home. So, make the best of what you got. Anyways, the colors that I'm using is blue violet, blue flash, yellow flash, and pink flash. And then I also am going to use a little bit of the Ready to Pour acrylic sky blue. I love this. This is the one that I usually use for my tree paintings and stuff like that. And then also I'm going to use some just white that I mix up with Floetrol. Now all of these colors that I do, all of these colors, I actually mixed with Floetrol and water, a tiny bit of water, and that's how I get the right consistency. The right consistency is it kind of just flows off of there, and it's not like it's just going right into it. I am going to attempt to do a coaster or whatever with these. So let's see what happens using these colors. So I'm going to dip in them there, and then I'm just going to make dots everywhere. And then I'm going to bring them back together with swirls. I like the way these colors look. They are pretty bright when they dry, so I really like the way that they look. They give a lot of shine. So I've got also a little wet rag over to the side that I'm just wiping it off, so that I don't get too much black, don't get black in here to get back into here. So I'm going to do some of the next blue. Ooh, that one's kind of thin. I don't even have to really touch that. So I might have made that a little bit too thin, but that's okay. You know, we live and we learn. And what's great about this art is nothing is a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Just kind of like life, you know. We think that we're making the wrong choice, or how could we do this, or this should have looked differently, or whatever. And a lot of times they look like they're supposed to look, not necessarily like we need them to look. And that's okay. I'm going to do a couple of pink here and there. And then I'm going to bring some of those into the middle of some of these. I have to be really careful that I'm not going to get that back into the pink in here. So it's really not like touching it, but almost getting it close and then letting it drip into it. A lot of these circles have turned into other shapes. This black must be just sucking it up. But that's okay. Like I said before, everything happens for a reason. And nothing really is the wrong way. We're just learning as we go. And understanding that it's okay what happens, whatever happens. I know some of this with the blue and the yellow are going to turn into green. And that's what we have to really be mindful of, is that we understand the color wheel. And, you know, all of us learn that early on in grade school, as far as blue and yellow make green, you know, and if you're looking at like the opposite of the color wheel, like for instance, green and red will end up being muddy. So be very careful when you're doing stuff like that, mixing different colors that are opposite in the color wheel. I'm going to come in here and maybe even do a third color of a drop inside, because I'm going to end up going back and I'm not going to leave them as dots on this. I am actually going to go in and what's called a wreck, and I'm going to kind of swirl them together. And get some movement in there. I'm also going to, I'm going to put some white. Oh, here's the white. So I also have some white here, just to kind of break things up and give us a little bit more dimension here and there, from all this black that's here. So yeah, I touched that too close to the black, and I got black on the very tip, so that ain't happening. Those aren't as much of a dot as I would like it, but that's okay. It's because I touched it rather than let it drip off. I love whenever it drips like that, because it's a little bit different. It's kind of cool that you can kind of get different shapes and see different stuff. I think I might put a little bit of red into it. I don't know. We'll see. I tried earlier, not earlier, but a couple days ago, whenever I first got stuck in the house, to use these tips, which is not, I still have a little bit on it, which is not a brush. It is actually like a little plastic thing. And I didn't like the way that it looked. If anything, I would say either use the tiniest of one of these to swirl, which is like, I mean, really, really, really tiny. Or I usually use a meat skewer, just a wooden meat skewer. So this will be the first time with this that I use it. And I think I'm going to do maybe a little bit of this blue, which is something I made up a couple of weeks ago it's a mixture of blacks and blues and stuff like that. So it's a much deeper blue, but there's really no name for it, because I ended up mixing blues and blacks and stuff like that in order to get it. But I really found that it was a pretty color. It's like a, I feel like it's more like a military blue, if that makes sense. It's really, really a pretty blue, and I cannot wait to use that in like a painting in the future. Either that, or I think I'm going to do some tiles for a friend that is wanting to make a table and inlay my tiles in there. I think that's one of the blues that I will use in that, because I think that it would look really good inlaid into some wood and then put some epoxy on top of that. But we'll see. Depending on how many more days I'm stuck in the house, I really can't go out into my garage area. It's way too cold. But I'm going to go ahead and swirl these a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. I think I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing maybe a little bit better. And then I'm going over here, and I've got that little rag that I'm just kind of tapping it off on the rag so that I don't mix a whole bunch of colors in. I really wish I would have put a little white in there. I'm going to do that again. Let me use this to add a little bit of white into that right there. Well, it's fine. It almost looks like a little butterfly. That's kind of cool. Now I just turned it into a flower. Anyways. So I'm just kind of doing a circular motion and moving those all around. Do you see how I'm doing that? Hope y'all can see that well. I feel like I need a little bit of white right over here, just because it seems like it's way too dark over here. So I'm going to drip a little drop of white right there. And then come back with maybe that blue right there. All right, just felt like there wasn't enough color in that area right there. I'm bringing some of that black into it, and I feel like I need some dimension for some of these. That is just so plain. These yellows, I mean these pinks need a little bit of oomph to it. I don't know if you're seeing, hopefully you can see in there how I'm doing that, as far as like just bringing in some of the black, but then also bringing all that through so it's not just sitting there. Oh, I wish that wasn't falling off the side, but that's okay. I really like the way this is turning out. This is cute. I need a little bit more. As you get used to it, you get used to what you think the composition is going to look best at if you do certain things. And so you were able to like add different colors and stuff like that, so that I feel like I need a little bit more yellow right in there. And that deep blue, oh, that deep blue is so pretty. I'm going to put a little bit more of that right here into the white. It's almost like that, just like engulf that, but that's okay. Just felt like it needed a little bit more of the whites and stuff like that around the corners. All right. Ooh, that's what I was going to do, and I didn't do it. Let's see. There's a big piece in there. I think I really want a little bit of that yellow into that. And then hopefully it'll come out a little bit more. I'll be able to see that blue a little bit. Oh, that right there is kind of different. That's okay. And this will change a little bit because as you see, it is very fluid. It's even flowing off the sides right now. I don't know if I like this part over here, but there you go. And this is for me. Just So because it's I can put a little bit more of that blue. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the white in there. And I'm going to, yeah, there we go. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm going to leave that alone. Oh, nope, right here. I'm like trying to figure out whether or not I have all of my little dots to be no longer dots. I feel like something needs to be right there. And so I'm going to put a little bit of white. And then just bring that around. Maybe a little bit of pink. Just so it's not so just yellows and blues and everything over here. So now, don't get me wrong, all this is probably not going to look like this. Just because it does change so much. This right here is not good for me. It's just not good for me. So I'm going to add that back to that. I keep going back to that one side, and I need to probably just walk away and leave it alone. But sometimes I just can't do that. I almost feel like I need to put some more black into that area. You know what? I'm going to walk away. Okay, and so thank you for being a part of this and watching me. I hope you could see it. Watching me paint this, or I should say swirl it. This right here is looking weird. Anyways, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Hopefully tomorrow it won't look too much different than it is. It will look a little bit different because all of these paintings move as they dry. I'm going to be putting it on top of a cup, and I'll take the sides, clean the sides up, so hopefully it won't fall over the sides too much. But thank you. Have a great night.